Welcome. You're listening to the Keeping Ashland Healthy podcast, a podcast production of the Mental Health and Recovery Board of Ashland County, Ohio. Thanks for joining us. And welcome back to the Mental Health and Recovery Board studios here on 1605 County Road, 1095. In the studio with me is a return guest. We don't have a lot of return guests, only our favorite come back. And Candace Ressler is one of our favorites. Welcome back, Candace.
Thank you. I love to hear that I'm the favorite.
Well, Candace is, one of our local experts in art therapy. And when last we were talking with her, we were talking a little bit about art therapy generally, but we were also talking about a big art event that she was putting on and preparing for. And she's come back because we have another big art event we want to talk about and promote. But we also want to talk again, because that was, a year or so ago, Candace, last time you were on. So I don't want to assume, our audience changes, and a lot of the folks may not remember or have never heard about art therapy, what it is, all the certifications and licenses that these folks have, that it's a real profession, and then maybe what's offered in Ashland County locally now. And then we'll certainly talk about this event in November. So maybe kick it off. Tell the audience a little bit about yourself, some of the journey you've had educationally and license-wise, but then also, what art therapy actually looks like. What are you doing with folks over there?
Yeah, so my name is Candace. I am a licensed professional clinical counselor, a licensed professional art therapist, and a board-certified art therapist in the state of Ohio. Since the last time we talked, I added two of those things, the board certification and then new licensures now allowed me to be a licensed professional art therapist. So that's really fun.
That was real exciting. You had brought that to the listeners' attention. It wasn't a thing when we last spoke. It was in process of being a license.
Yes.
So that, again, hopefully, audience, you understand, by the state recognizing the important work that Candace and her peers do, it helps, I think, assure the public that this is a real thing. There's evidence and science behind what you're doing. It's just not people that like finger paint.
Yes.
It's more than finger
paint. Those
paint.
questions. So it's actually really cool, and there's some backing up to it.
Yes.
So it's nice. I got my degree at Ursuline College in Pepper Pike. They have a dual credit program for masters for counseling and art therapy. So that's where I went, and I loved it there. That was awesome. And from there, it's kind of blossomed. My first job off the bat was Appleseed. So I can't remember when I graduated, 2021. So 4 years ago.
4 years ago.
So I've been there since then, and I've loved it, and have had the great opportunity to work with Appleseed, Jerry, Stacy, who've backed me and really helped me make this art therapy program flourish.
Yeah. My understanding was there really wasn't an art therapy program until you arrived, Candace. And this is just a shout out because, as the listeners know, the board contracts with three partner agencies, Appleseed, Acadian, and Catholic Charities. And Appleseed, one of the things I appreciate about all our directors, but Jerry and Stacy over at Appleseed, they are not afraid to embrace something maybe that they're not currently doing. They're open to what emerging trends there are, and art therapy was one of those things. So I do shout out to them because they saw in you somebody with skills and passion, not something they were necessarily doing, but they said, let's try this. Let's give Candace a chance with that. And it's grown. And I think
they definitely had a gamble, and I hope to think that they are paying off on it, but I really, like I said, I really love and appreciate all the support and from my supervisor, Jeremy.
Yeah.
But I am the only art therapist in Ashland as of I know.
Yeah.
I know there's Worcester. There's a lot of places there, it's kind of growing. Like I said, Ursuline is where I graduated, so Cleveland is kind of pouring out art therapists, which is great. And then they kind of are now becoming more prevalent, which is awesome. Yep. But I'm hoping to get some more into Ashland. I know I said that last year, but I'm still hoping.
So what's your caseload look like? I mean, you're working with adults and kids?
Yeah, so I work with I'm a youth counselor, but I asked Stacy and Jerry, I like the variety. So I'm working with anyone. I think my oldest is in their 60s, and my youngest is in their maybe my youngest has been 4.
Wow.
So,
okay.
yeah.
Quite the range.
Yes.
But when we last spoke, I wasn't sure your caseload, if it was totally full, but now it sounds like you're pretty busy.
Yes. So I did just get back from maternity leave,
Yes.
so I'm growing. But when I was coming back, I had a couple people who were specifically waiting for art therapy to come back in. So I was really excited about that, which I know last time we talked, you were like, that's going to be happening. And then it kind of happened after that.
Yeah.
So it was cool to see.
And again, for the audience, so the idea is the art is the medium rather than as much the talk being the exclusive medium to help somebody with whatever their challenges are. You still do talk.
Yes.
But you're also using this art medium. And if you could maybe
Yes.
unpack those different mediums, that might be helpful for folks.
Yeah, so art therapy is a tool to use, and there is a lot of science in how different types of mediums can elicit different responses.
Yeah.
So it's really cool, and one of my favorite things about art therapy is like the symbolism in it and the meaning making. So they create something and they find meaning, or they're creating something to show something, and it allows the client to not have to necessarily depend on that vocal.
Yeah.
They can create something, and then we can kind of suss it out and process it and come to it at the time they need to come to it. Because one of the biggest things is meeting the client where they're at.
That's right. That's
So,
right. And I think you use the word or the phrase "suss it out," which you're
Sorry.
far too young to know that
I work
phrase.
with youth. I have to be in
suss
with
it
the
out.
lingo.
Yeah. And one of the things that struck me is, again, this is a new and emerging thing that is the licensure gives it again that credibility, if you will. But what I have flashbacks when I first knew that you were doing this to my, for the audience, bear with me. When I was very, very young, which is a long time ago, I took a class in my graduate studies called projective measures. And this was, people think of the ink blots, and they're, you ask a young person to draw a house, a tree, and a person, So these were projective measures because they basically, you ask the person, what do you see here, or what does this mean? Or you ask the person to draw these things. But it's just what you said, Candace. It gets the person's perspective. It's like the quickest way that I found as a therapist to not make assumptions about what's going on with the person, but for the person to tell me, because when I would show an ink blot or what they call the thematic apperception test, that's a fancy word for basically a picture. And you say, well, what do you think this is? And then you say, oh, okay, well, tell me how you see that, or what you see, and what is this? And then boom, the person is the person, right? You're getting the person, not, some filtered weird, you're getting the person. And when a young person would draw me a house, tree, and a person, and I would ask them to describe it to me, boy, you learn a lot about the person in their own words right away.
And it can be even under they don't even hear what they're saying. And you're like, oh, I'm going to save that for later.
How come Dad's way over here and the rest of the family's over here? Well, because Daddy's gone a lot,
and
right?
It's very similar for play therapy.
Yes.
I don't necessarily do play therapy.
Right. We've got some folks that do that in the county.
Yes. Yep. But it is very similar. It's like almost that your unconscious is coming through to share these things.
I love that course, Candace.
Yes.
If I would have continued in direct service, I would have done a lot more projective tests because it was a little subtle and people didn't realize because the unconscious, it's hidden, right? We're not always aware in those kinds of measures. So I don't know how much of that is going on when you're doing your work with folks, but I have to imagine for some people they might. I'm using air quotes, audience. They might say more than they realize they're saying, and then you might be able to capitalize on that when you're doing your work.
Yes, I would say that happens quite a lot, and I love that.
Yeah.
So, and I think I said this in the last podcast, but I'll repeat. I usually tend to try to get clients to come in and feel comfortable at first with art because they come in with a lot of preconceived ideas or fears or perfectionistic tendencies.
Sure.
And so I'm trying to get them out of that mindset to have kind of that freedom. And so I'll do more structured tasks we'll do a couple assessments. And then as they get comfortable, they do more free association drawings and prompts that are related to what's going on in their life, and then they create, and it's really cool. And exactly that, the unconscious comes through, and I'll just kind of poke at the questions, asking a little,
Yeah.
like I said, suss it out, and
Suss it out.
and they'll like literally be like, oh, okay, I didn't realize I even
Yeah. And do you allow them to use the medium that they're most comfortable with?
Yeah, so I
Okay.
tend to try to, like I said, keep it a little structured at first,
Yeah.
just so that they're not like going out in the left field. But there is a lot of science too in the evidence-based. Oh my goodness, there is the continuum. Oh my goodness,
okay.
I can't remember what it's called. My brain's again, but it is a continuum where it has like very structured tasks and then very
I
loose
see.
tasks, and where the structured tasks are really opening up your cognitive state,
Yep.
and the looser tasks like the watercoloring and the painting, it opens up more emotional.
Yeah.
So it's really interesting too to see the difference between.
Right.
So if I have a client that's really in their brain
Right,
and
right.
I need to get or elicit some
Yeah.
more emotion, I'm
You
going
can
to try
switch
to
the
lean.
medium.
I'm trying to lean into the mediums that are going to get their feelings to be.
That's clever.
Yeah, and then vice versa.
Yeah.
If I have a crying client and they cannot get it together, I will do maybe more structured tasks so that they can get their cognitive state back online and they can work through some of the things that are making them so emotional.
Yeah. Well, I can't. I told you the last time, and I'm going to say it again because I want the audience to hear it. This is quite an opportunity. If you or someone you care about, is struggling, and you know that this person, has a tendency towards art, to know that we've got somebody in the county that is an expert, licensed, credentialed, that can use, again, if their medium is chainsaws and tree stumps, maybe she can't use that particular medium, but if they're an artist at all, she can work within that.
Yeah.
And I think for a lot of folks, that's helpful to know, because not everybody's a talker. As you know, we've got the equine program through Appleseed as well.
Marlene does amazing with
Yes,
that.
and not everybody, the talk therapy for a lot of reasons doesn't work. So being out with the horses, they're outside, just being around those animals, which are very unique animals, can bring about the conversations or the connection that's needed for that individual. So
And again, it's kind of like almost sneaky in that, like we were like, oh, how can these horses tell us what is going on? And she just does a really great job at like being like, no, they're telling me something different. And
Yeah.
the expressive therapy continuum is what it's called.
expressive therapy continuum.
Yeah, and it's the kind of scale of media that you can use and what it
I see.
elicits. So sorry,
From more of the cognitive to the emotional.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
so that's what that was. I just wanted to.
No, because
my mind.
this audience knows this. This counselors, social workers, we create all these fancy terms for things. This is what we do. Yeah.
The ETC, and my brain totally forgot what it stood for, but I know it.
Well, that brings us to there is an opportunity coming up November 3rd, 6 to 8 at our Ashland County Library there on Claremont for what you're calling a Seeds of Hope art show. And this is the second year. I was at the first one. I'm hoping I can be here. A lot of people don't know this, but regular listeners will know my bedtime's right around 6 o'clock, but I'm going to try really hard to be there for the opening of this. But tell us about this Seeds of Hope art show, November 3rd at the library.
Yeah, I'm going to second that. My bedtime has moved up very high quickly since I had 2 kiddos, but I agree. So it's going to be maybe a rough night for both of us.
Yeah.
But Seeds of Hope, I'm so excited about this because the last year we did it at the Ashland University, which was the first year. It was so cool. We had 40 pieces, and then we coupled it with art therapist artwork too, so it was really cool.
The room was jam-packed when I was there.
It was really cool. So this year might be a little different. Sure. Like I said, I just had my second child, so I'm coming back from maternity leave. But I am planning on going to the Ashland Library, and we're coupling and collaborating with them. Funny enough, in 2024, when I was trying to figure out where I would like the second year to happen at, because I wanted it to be in different community ventures, I called them, asked, and they were like, oh, that sounds like a really cool idea. Let's check it out. And funny enough, also, their theme for this year of 2025 was art. And creativity. So it was meant to be. It was a really cool, God moment of like, oh, this is where it's supposed to be. So this year might be a little different and a little smaller, but it is going to be still really cool in that art is going to be shared from clients so that they can be empowered to express some of their journey or what they've created and to feel empowered by that.
So maybe some of the artists will be there, maybe not for every piece, but some of them might be there. And then there might even, I think you did this last time, but some kind of a little bit of a context or a little story that maybe goes with the piece so folks have somewhat of an idea what they're working on. Yeah,
so the process that I'm doing right now at Appleseed is any client that they want to share their art, I have a submission form, and they just write a couple sentences about what the art's about so that the viewer can have some insight. And I think what I said earlier, too, is it's really cool, and I've had this conversation with clients, is that you're going to share part of yourself, which is so, impressive and should be celebrated.
And private and personal for a lot of folks, too. And I know that can be scary if I put kind of myself out there and then the public sees it. What will they think?
Yes, I think that is a very normal thing. And I walk with my clients through that, like, hey, this might be really scary, but also, trust me, it'll be a really interesting process to see. And I've found it's been really beneficial because the audience takes it and sees maybe the thing that they see and they connect with it and they're talking with whoever and the client's like right there. They can see it and they're like, oh, that's really cool that they are like absorbing my artwork in this way. And then also I think it's really cool because the viewer also maybe sees something completely different that connects with them and their journey. So I think that's really interesting way that art can kind of speak.
I'm with you, sister.
Without speaking.
That's right. I think we talk about these things twofers sometimes we call it, where both parties benefit, where the person that did the art benefits, but then the participant, the person that comes to the show, they benefit too, Candace, through that experience. And it's a win for everybody. And again, a plug for the library. I have found them to be wonderful partners. We've partnered with them on several things. So I am not surprised at all that they're working with you. And I just
It's been great. Yeah. And their marketing team, they made all the posters and they made little bookmarks. And I'm really excited to be pushing it because it's going to be happening very, very soon, November 3rd. One thing that I do want to mention, too, is so 6 to 7 is when they're still open.
Okay.
And then they close at 7. Oh. And we're going to do, short speeches at that point because it's just going to be, the open reception. And they're staying up open later for our event just to kind of make sure, people can come in and see
Very nice.
The artwork.
Do folks have to register for this?
No, they do not. It's free to the community.
Okay, no cost.
They just come. Right. And I'm hoping kind of some people just stumble upon it, I'm going to the library. Oh, look at all this art. Look how cool. And then one of the other things is my plan is that a lot of the art's going to stay there for the month of November. So if you do miss reception night, maybe you'll pop into the library and get a book and also get to see some really cool art.
No, that's important. So folks can't make it. They have a conflict for some reason. They can still go back throughout the month to see some of the art. That is wonderful. Well, I mean, I'm excited. This is the second year, and quite frankly, audience, I hope Candace continues to do this, but a lot of it depends on the community and their willingness to continue to embrace this. I mean, based on what happened last year at Coburn, I thought that went wonderful. So I anticipate we'll have a good turnout again, Candace.
I'm hoping. And I'm prepared for it to be a little smaller just because of the last minute of some of the stuff. But I think it's in general, it's so cool to get to see clients really feel empowered and share and be willing to be so vulnerable because, like you said, it's a risk, and so it's really cool for them to trust the process.
Yeah.
So,
well, let me wrap it up for the audience. This is the Seeds of Hope Art Show. It's the second year. It's on Monday, November 3rd, 6 to 8 o'clock at the Ashland Library there on Claremont. And in the studio with me is Candace Ressler. She is licensed and certified as an art therapist. She is a pro. She works at Appleseed. She can see you if you are so inclined, and she will use an art medium that is comfortable to you, as long as they can do that within the confines of Appleseed.
Pretty flexible.
But that I just thought about this. I don't know if you do any work outside of Appleseed. If the client
Funny enough, so I do some community things here and there.
Okay.
And when I connected with them, one of the things was, hey, you're doing this big thing for me. Is there anything I can do for you? And they had summer programs where they had me come in. Well, one of the times I scheduled 2, but I had a baby. So, but I had a coworker go in my place. But I came in and I did community art with I think they do like weekly events.
Yeah.
And so I came in and I did like some art therapy process or like a art therapy prompt, and then they created it was really cool. And then I heard that the second one went well too.
Yeah.
So
well, all the different organizations, groups, particularly our seniors around town, our golden centers.
Yes.
I know. We had our music therapist. She's gone around to a lot of those places. I can see them embracing that, but I get it too. You only have so much time in the day.
I did do a small collaboration, like maybe a year and a half ago, with the elderly at one of those buildings. I can't remember the name of it at this moment, but I'm hoping to work. I love doing it. I love going out into the community and doing like events like this, and then also like the Croc Center and other things. So like I like kind of dipping my toe in a bunch of different things.
Well, Candace, I think you're a wonderful ambassador for art therapy. So everybody should come out and meet Candace. She's going to be there. But like me, she might be a little tired because it's past our bedtime. Candace, anything else you want to tell the audience before we wrap up?
No, thank you. Hope to see you there and see you support.
Absolutely. November 3rd, 6 to 8 at the Ashland Library for the Seeds of Hope Art Show Year 2. Thank you, Candace. Thank you for listening to another episode of the Keeping Ashland Healthy podcast. The podcast is a production of the Mental Health and Recovery Board of Ashland County, Ohio. You can reach the board by calling 419-281-3139. Please remember that the board funds a local 24/7 crisis line through Appleseed Community Mental Health Center. It can be reached by calling 419-289-6111. That's 419-289-6111. Until next time, please join us in Keeping Ashland Healthy.